A week ago, Stig broke off our engagement. And our relationship is over.
I came here so excited to find love, and I'm leaving alone.
I'd be willing to do whatever it takes to win her back.
Are you willing to block your ex right now?
I can't block her because...
Oh, for God's sake.
Let's call this the villain episode. We've got 3 douchebag guys who've done very little to make their relationships work. We've got Josh, who can't even stop partying for one night in order to spend some private alone time with the woman that he says he loves on her final night in Australia. We've got Stig, who went back to old ways practically the minute that Aviva left. Shock horror. And then we've got Rick, and we all know exactly what a scumbag Rick is. And yet, somehow, despite that, Trish might still be willing to give him another shot. Honestly, make it make sense. So, let's rewind to the start and pick things up with Elise on the day that she's leaving Australia.
I'm so tired. I'm literally leaving for the airport in 1 hour. And he just left.
So, as you can no doubt tell, once again, everything has turned to shit for Elise and Josh. What's happened this time? Well, she tells us that during these final minutes that she has left at the apartment, Josh has once again disappeared. He's left the apartment and turned off his location tracking. Elise has no idea where he's gone and whether or not she's going to see him again before the taxi arrives to take her to the airport. But what caused this? Why has he just taken off like this? Well, while we don't actually have footage, apparently everything kicked off last night. After their tense conversation during dinner, which we saw, we have footage of that. But then, when they got back home, Josh invited his friends over for a party.
2 girls came over with a guy, and Josh was disrespecting me, and I went to the bedroom and I started crying. And I was just in the bedroom up all night.
Right, so on their very last night together, Josh was up partying all night with his friends, while Elise was crying alone in her room. Honestly, it really does raise the question, is Josh such a party animal? Is he so out of control with his partying that he can't even stop for one night, not even to save his relationship? I mean, that would tie in with what else we know about him. The fact that the guy had a party on a yacht and crashed it, right? It's pretty damning, isn't it? Clearly the allure of partying, drinking, is very strong for him, and it makes him reckless. Now, there is also potentially another theory here, and the two aren't mutually exclusive. Both can be true. Maybe Josh has also just stopped trying with this relationship. Maybe he knows it's doomed. Either way, whatever the case, here we are the next morning, and instead of talking to Elise, he's just left.
Don't tell me love me and then leave. He is choosing his friends and partying over me.
And I think it really says a lot when even his best friend Chris isn't taking Josh's side here. He admits Josh calling his friends over for a party last night was a really terrible idea.
I think it was a terrible idea having girls over on Elise's last night. I was working on my laptop in my room while they were fighting. But no, it wasn't a good idea.
Now, it's at this point that Joshua actually returns back to the apartment. He walks in, ignores the camera crew, walks straight into Elise's room and closes the door behind him. Again, while there's no footage of this, Elise's microphone picks up what he whispers to her. I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, he keeps saying. Clearly, today in the cold light of day, with a hangover, he regrets his actions, but it's too little too late, isn't it? No good apologising after the fact. Don't do it in the first place, Josh. So, what actually happened? What is it that he's apologising for? Well, Josh tells us his perspective, and it's rather different from Elise's. He says that Elise actually agreed that his friends could come over to party, but when they got there, Elise started a fight for no reason. He's making this out to be all her fault.
She can be very nasty. She's like, you don't love me anymore, you know, you don't want me anymore.
Do you love her?
Yeah, I do. And I do.
Okay, let's separate the two stories here. Story number Number one, do I believe that Elise might have started acting crazy and causing a scene? Well, yes I do. But story or claim number two, do I believe that Josh really truly loves Elise? No, I don't. If he did, surely his priority would be to spend her last night alone with her. He's not going to see her for God knows how many months when she goes back to the States. It's going to go back to a long-distance relationship. Surely he'd want to savour every last moment of her time in Australia alone, just the two of them. Don't get me wrong, I'm definitely not Elise's biggest fan. I think that she's a bit of a liability herself, right? But what Josh says and what he does, his words and his actions, don't quite match. You can't tell me that you love someone, but then happily carry on partying and leave her alone to cry in her own room all night. Now, for what it's worth, Josh does insist on accompanying Elise to the airport, but the taxi ride there is very tense. Elise tells him that he hurt her, that he ruined their last night together.
Look, I wasn't malicious or disgusting.
And then you started talking about me when I went in the bedroom?
I didn't.
Okay. Everything that I say, you're going to fight back.
So, as they arrive at the airport, the tension between them remains very high. This is 1,000,000 miles away from how you'd want your time together to end. Elise isn't accepting Josh's apology, and Josh is checked out. I think he knows what's about to come. In fact, he actually says, quote, "I don't know how many times I can apologise for it." And then he goes on to blame Elise for just not getting over it.
You still won't accept it on a day where we're leaving on a bad note. If every little speed bump becomes this massive thing, it's never going to work. It's not going to work.
Yeah, but it's also not going to work, Josh, when you leave the woman that you claim you love alone crying in your bedroom while you're outside partying and drinking with your friends. Like, as if that isn't bad enough, add into the mix his avoidant personality, the fact that he'd rather take off rather than stay and talk things out, and, of course, his half-assed apologies. And you can understand why what Elise says and does next shouldn't really come as a surprise. When Josh asks if she'll be able to get past this, Elise tells him she'll always care for him, but she can't do this anymore.
I can't do this. It's not going to work out. I'm sorry.
Wow, is that your reaction when the woman that you claim you love breaks up with you? I mean, there's no display of emotion at all. The guy is completely cold. If Elise was maybe hoping that he might try and show some fight, try and do something to make her change her mind, well, that's just not happening. I think his reaction is all the proof that she needs that she's doing the right thing here. Josh might say that he loves her, but I think he checked out of this relationship a while ago. And if anything, I think there might even be an element of relief that it's over.
Sorry, I haven't like this.
Yeah, it's a very strange, very weird reaction, and that is how they say their final goodbyes. I don't know, I don't know what it is, but I just can't work Josh out. He is an enigma, but by his own admission, he's got his priorities all wrong. Now, very emotional Elise says that she came to Australia really wanting this to work. But, she says, there were just too many red flags. What with his work situation, his son, his living situation, his friends, his partying, and of course, also his personality. But, despite all of that, the breakdown of this relationship really does hurt.
I came here so excited to find love, and I'm leaving alone.
Now, for as devastated as Elise is, Josh, and I think this is pretty symbolic of their entire relationship, their personalities, Josh couldn't be further on the opposite end of the spectrum. He remains completely stoic. I gave my best, he says, and yeah, I'm devastated, but I'm never going to beg someone to stay with me. And I think when all is said and done, we just have to admit that these two are just too different. This was never going to work. Now, from one broken relationship to another, let's catch up with Aviva and Stig. And we join Aviva 3 months after we last saw her. She's now back in the States and back single.
A week ago, Stig broke off our engagement. And our relationship is over.
Now, I'm not gonna lie, my first thought when I hear that is, thank goodness she never got pregnant. Can you imagine if there was a poor innocent baby involved in this situation? Now, we are told that after her trip to Belize, Stig actually came to the States to visit Aviva. Things went well. They went to Houston, remember where he wanted to move to? They went to Houston to visit his family members. And everything felt good. Their relationship felt solid. Until he went home. When Stig got back to Belize, things quickly felt off, Aviva says. He'd just stop communicating with me. He'd go completely silent on me.
I'm not sure if he went as far as, having sex with somebody else or like physically cheating, but I definitely think he was talking to other women.
Now, while Aviva doesn't have any conclusive evidence, right, and while trust was never their strong point, it wouldn't come as a shock to anyone if he really did cheat on her. I mean, even his own friends and his dad didn't believe that he could be faithful. Like, the more that distance grew between them, the more silent that Stig became, the more worried Aviva became, and the more that she could feel him pulling away. So she apparently said to Stig, I'd respect you more if you just admitted that you were over this relationship and ended things. If that's how you feel, just do it, she said to him. So he did.
But then he finally texted me and was like, I can't do this. He blamed it all on me. He said he just didn't trust me. Like, it was crazy.
Yeah, you heard that right. The guy didn't even respect her enough to pick up the phone and end their engagement. That's Big Ed levels of f***ery, isn't it? Dumping your fiancé by text message. Now, as if that wasn't bad enough, just to make matters even worse, not only did Stig then go on to blame Aviva for everything, but get this, within seconds of dumping her, he was already moving on.
And then seconds later, posted videos with other girls.
I know she got little pretty friends, so more likely you're looking beautiful, so...
What a dick thing to do. Posting something like that seconds later is designed to show Aviva that he doesn't care. He's deliberately trying to make this as painful for her as possible. But why? Have a bit of class. What did she do to deserve that? She was madly in love with him. She wanted his kids, for Pete's sake. Now, while Stig isn't worth Aviva's tears, unfortunately, she can't stop the tears from flowing. Aviva's distraught, and she can't help but question her own actions. Did I do something wrong, she wonders.
Like, I just think, oh, if I didn't do that, if I didn't do this, maybe if I handled this differently, it would have been a different outcome.
Sorry, but I doubt it, Aviva. Stig is the kind of guy that was always going to get bored with just having one woman admire him. He loves the attention. He thinks he's worthy of the attention. And while Aviva says that she's left with a lot of unanswered questions, I just hope Stig might be able to give her closure, the closure that she clearly needs, at the tell-all. Now, moving on from Belize to Madagascar, let's pick up with a relationship that should be well and truly over, but somehow it might not be. So we join Rick at the very end of his vacation, all alone and set to leave for the airport. And as always, Rick has this uncanny ability to feel sorry for himself when he's the architect of his own misery.
I'm really sad with it being over between Trish and I couldn't help the way that I felt.
He says he's trying to frame this as if he's such a noble guy that he didn't want to lie to Trisha about how he feels for his ex. I mean, wow, Rick, get the violins out. For once in this relationship, he's actually told her the truth. What a stand-up guy. What a prize he must be. Yeah, right. Sorry, Rick, but we all know you're a scumbag. This guy right here is the kind of guy that only tells the truth when it suits him. Even now, Rick doesn't take accountability for what he's done. As he leaves, he continues to blame others for his actions.
If my ex had never contacted me, Trish and I would definitely be in a much better place.
He still doesn't get it, does he? It isn't his ex's fault for contacting him, it's his fault for replying. He should have told Trish about his ex's messages right away. He should have blocked his ex to save his relationship. But he willingly chose not to. So everything that's happened, despite how he tries to present it, is as a result of his own choices, not anyone else's.
And this hurts me deeply that it didn't work out. I'm leaving with no hope at all.
Now, more than anything, I wish I could say that this is where the story ends. I wish I could say that Rick gets on a plane and flies away, never to be seen again. Like, there should be no more hope for this relationship. And yet, on his way to the security gate, Rick spots someone, and suddenly, everything changes.
Baby.
That's right, for some unfathomable reason, Trisha showed up at the airport to say goodbye. Like, she's even here allowing Rick to hug her. So, why did she come? Has she lost her mind? Is she taking him back? Well, no, not yet anyway. She explains that she's come to give him a gift that she bought before he even arrived. I'd bought us matching outfits, she explains, and I'd forgotten to give it to you, so I wanted to give it before you left. Now, it won't come as a surprise to hear that, in my opinion, that should have been set on fire or thrown in the trash, right? But the truth is, the gift itself is a bit of a smokescreen. It's an excuse for her to come. The real reason that she's here is slightly different.
I want to say goodbye. We're gonna leave and we'll never see again.
She might say that they'll never see each other again, but I don't believe her. She's leaving the door open for him. Like, Trish actually admits to the camera crew that she still loves Rick. She doesn't think that he'll change, but, she says, I hope that he can prove me wrong. I hope that he can change. I mean, someone needs to remind her that leopards never change their spots. But Rick is now sensing his opportunity. He tells her that he loves her. He tells her that he wants to be with her. In fact, he even says, quote, I will eventually get over my feelings for my ex. I mean, it's hardly a great offer, hardly something that will sweep most women off their feet. But I get the sense it might be working on Trisha.
I want us to work, but I don't know if it's...
We can make it work, baby. We can make it work. We can make it work, baby.
That sound that you just heard? That was us all collectively shouting at Trisha through our TV screens. No, Trisha, no, don't fall for this crap. Now, while she falls short of committing to him, getting back together officially, she does agree to remain in contact as friends for now and take things day by day to see whether or not they might be able to get back together. So with that, with an extra pep in his step, Rick now says goodbye and boards his plane. He vows that he's going to prove to Trisha just how much he loves her. I'll do anything to make this relationship work, he says. Well, almost anything.
Are you willing to block your ex right now?
I can't block her because it would be like on our times that we shared together.
Yeah, what a dick. Same old Rick. I mean, he's never gonna change, is he? What he says and what he does are two completely different things. It's easy to say you love someone, as all three men in this episode showed. But actually proving that with actions takes a lot more effort that none of these men were willing to put in.